Hi everybody, it's Deedee here from stampinwithdeedee.com. Today's video is for those of you who want to start stamping but have never used a stamp before. In this video, you'll learn how to ink up a stamp and then use it to stamp an image on some cardstock. Yes, these techniques are very basic, but they're the foundation of every other stamping technique and your gateway to using stamps to make greeting cards, scrapbook pages, and other unique handcrafted items. First, let's take a look at how to use a stamp that's smaller than your ink pad. To do this, you need three things: a stamp, an ink pad, and some cardstock. You might also want to cover your work surface with some scratch paper or a grid pad like this one so you don't accidentally get ink on it. Before you get started, make sure that the stamp you're using is attached to a block. Either it's permanent wood block or a detachable clear block that's the right size for the stamp. The block is the handle that you hold on to when using a stamp. Now go ahead and lay your cardstock on your work surface in front of you. Then open up your ink pad. Now hold your stamp by the sides of the block with the image surface facing down. Tap the stamp straight up and down a couple times against the ink pad. When you think you have enough ink, turn the stamp over to double check. If any parts need more ink, tap the stamp a couple more times against the ink pad. Once your stamp is fully inked, lift it straight up and away from the ink pad. Now position it over to your cardstock right above where you want the image to go. Lower the stamp straight down to the cardstock. Apply even pressure to the whole stamp, being careful not to rock the stamp. This will transfer the inked image to your cardstock. When you're finished, just lift the stamp straight up and away. Now let's look at how to ink a stamp that's bigger than your ink pad. Some stamps, like this background stamp that Stampin' Up! Offers, are really too big to hold comfortably in your hand, so you'll need a slightly different technique to ink and stamp them. To do this, you'll need the same three things: a stamp, an ink pad, and some cardstock. You'll also need a piece of scratch paper that's bigger than the stamp. Start by laying the stamp on its back. Now pick up your ink pad by the sides and pat it all over the stamp to cover it with ink. You might need to go over it a few times to get it fully covered, especially if the stamp is really detailed. When you feel the stamp is inked enough, set your ink pad aside and then lay the cardstock on top of the stamp. Now lay the scratch paper over the top of the cardstock. Finally, use your hands to apply pressure to the stamp, rubbing over all the parts of it to transfer the image to the cardstock. You can see I'm really working here to make sure that I get all of the details of that huge stamp onto my cardstock. When you're finished, just remove the scratch paper and lift your cardstock straight up and away from the stamp. You can see that gives you a great image. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below or visit my website at stampinwithdeedee.com for more information. Until next time, happy stamping!